Hi there, I'm Mike, and finally it's time for me to bring you Star Wars The Black Series Battle Droid review. I know, it's been a while. Go ahead and take a look at a picture of one while I read the bio on the back of the box. Rather than use flesh and blood warriors, the Separatists prefer mindlessly loyal soldiers that are easily controlled. Battle droids are dim-witted and no match for clone troopers or Jedi, but they weren't designed to be smart. They were designed to overwhelm Republic civilians through sheer numbers, something they do very effectively. The B-1 battle droids were first introduced in Star Wars Episode 1 The Phantom Menace. They were then featured throughout all the prequels and prequels media as sort of just a mass-produced, easily dispatchable cannon fodder for Jedis and clone troopers to just kind of mow down without really worrying about a massive loss of life. At first, especially in a lot of the media for prequels, they looked like just kind of faceless killing machines that should be feared, but then for some reason they used them as comedic relief. In hand here, though, we have a faithfully reproduced 6-inch version of that battle droid figure. This is an essential figure for any prequels collection. In terms of likeness, Hasbro's faithfully recreated the 6-inch version of what we saw on screen. That's a dated CGI model from 20 years ago. It looked really good then. In a 6-inch scale, I think it looks really good, and Hasbro has the benefit of not having to match a actor's face. It looks like just, a model of a robot, and they did that. Hasbro's generally pretty good with making robots and aliens look like they should, and here they did that as well. So all in all, I'm going to give the likeness the full point. It looks like it should. So let's talk accessories. What does he come with, and what should he have come with but doesn't? First, we have the ever-present Ephi Blaster. This is a staple of the prequels era battle droids. They should have this. If they don't have this, it's wrong. It's like having a stormtrooper not come with an E11 blaster. It's like having a Jedi not come with a lightsaber. This is their weapon. This is what they should have. The Ephi Blaster itself is basically the same one that came with Padme. It's molded with a lot of great detail, and it's got a nice kind of silver dry brush finish over it to give it a worn metallic look. It fits well in his hand. In fact, his right hand is molded to fit in the holster really well. It also has a little plug on the side that matches the plug on his backpack, so if you want to have some weapon storage, you can. The last two accessories are sort of an either-or kind of thing. First, we have the backpack. The backpack is what most battle droids had when you saw them on screen. The backpack is removable. It pegs in with two tiny pegs that fit nicely into the back, and then it also fits flush against the back to give it a seamless look. The backpack itself is molded in the same color as the droid. It also has the same kind of weathered paints and silver splotches to give it a uniform look, to look like it matches the figure, which is nice. It also has an extendable and retractable antenna, so if you want to have it up or down, you can do either. Getting them up and down is not hard, although I would be careful. They're just thin pieces of plastic. They could break in the future, but I haven't really had any issues so far. The next accessory is just a single antenna. If you want to put that on instead of the backpack, this can go on, and I believe that this is the antenna that the commander droids had that received the signal from the control ship up high, and it came down and he redistributed it to the other battle droids. I tried looking up more about it to get a definitive answer, but honestly, I couldn't really find anything that said why some battle droids had just an antenna and some battle droids had a backpack. So that's just kind of my thought. Because of this alternate display, I actually had to buy two so I could have one of each. It's not really why I felt I had to buy two, but it's the justification I used for buying two, so I could have one with a backpack and one displaying this. But also, it's Battle Droid. You need more than one, right? And that's pretty much it for accessories. In terms of accessories he should have come with but didn't, I don't have a lot. I can always say alternate hands are nice, but it is what it is, and that's fine. But I also would have liked some kind of blaster fire. Either blaster fire to come out of the muzzle, or he also has this little nubbin on his chest, and it looks like he should be able to plug like a blaster shot into that, but he doesn't come with it, and I think it would have been cool if he had to kind of show, some battle damage. But those aren't necessary. They would have just been cherries on the top. I think what he came with is pretty fine. So I'm actually going to give him the full point for his accessories. Next, let's take a look at his articulation. His head moves up and down. His robo mullet moves up and down. His head has a wiggle because it's on a ball joint. His neck moves forwards and backwards. It also pops up if need be. His shoulder moves out this far. It moves all the way around. He has an upper bicep swivel, a hinge at the elbow, a swivel at his forearm, a swivel at his wrist, as well as a hinge. His torso moves forward and backwards, and then side to side. His leg moves forward this far, and back this far. Not very much spread. He has a deep bend at the knee, as well as a hinge at the ankle, a swivel at the ankle, as well as a rocker, with this being the Battle Droid's widest stance with both his feet flat on the ground. So there we have it, the good and the bad. Let's start with the bad. His hips, I wish, could spread out just a little bit more. He does have a little bit of an ankle tilt, although it's a little tight and I'm afraid of breaking it, but it would have been a lot nicer if he had more of a spread to get more of an A stance to provide that stability that he really needs. My biggest complaint with this figure is that he does tend to fall over, especially if you have him standing straight up. I tend to counteract that by having his knees bent a little bit. It provides a lower center of gravity and he tends to fall over less. Not never, but less. And honestly, that's kind of how they stood in the movie anyway, especially when they were active. They had kind of a hunched over, crouched look about them. So I feel like it's a lot more accurate to the screen anyway to have him like that. And that's pretty much it for the bad. Let's look at the good. His head has a lot of movement at both the top and the bottom of the neck. His shoulders have a crazy amount of articulation. He has a swivel at the very top where his arm meets his shoulder, and then again at his forearm. And because of that, you can actually turn his forearm to make his wrist go this way or this way, and that's a really big plus. Something that I didn't see at first, and something that is just a really nice feature. I wish more figures could do something like that. You have that option just by a little bit of a twist of his forearm. It's a great feature. But his knees are the real star here. They have a deep, deep bend. In fact, there's even a cutout on the inside of his calf to accommodate for the molding on the back of his thigh. Why all this? Because this guy folds up. Let's go ahead and take a look at how that is accomplished. Fold up the legs, grab his hands to his legs, pull up the head, and push it forward between his legs and lower the antenna. And here you have it, the Battle Droid in his sort of, I guess, travel mode. One of my favorite things about the Battle Droid, especially when I saw them on screen, is their ability to fold up into a tiny, compact little square. I don't know if it's my love for Transformers or just the fact that, I don't know, I just thought it was cool when I saw it as a kid in the movie. The fact that this can do it was more important to me than anything else about this figure. If they were going to do a 6-inch scale Battle Droid, I needed it to fold up. And the fact that this can is absolutely perfect. And he actually stands up pretty well in this little compact mode. I like it a lot. So while the articulation isn't perfect, especially in the hips and kind of ankle area, I do feel like this mode kind of makes up for the fact that it's not perfect, making it kind of perfect. I'm gonna give it the full score, the 1 point there, because I just love it so much. So next, let's take a look at paint, sculpt, and detail. From head to toe, this guy is molded in one color plastic. There's a lot of molded detail in this. Starting with the head, there are lines and divots and just a lot of sections. It just has a lot of molded panels. I think it would benefit from maybe some panel lining to kind of bring those out, but it doesn't have it, and I'm not brave enough to do it. I'll leave that for you customizers out there. My biggest problem with the sculpt is the kind of plastic they use. Hasbro tends to use this sort of thin, malleable plastic. It's fine, except for if he does fall over, the leg will be bent a little bit because it sat weird on the shelf. And it takes a little bit of heat and prodding to kind of get it back in the right shape. It's an issue with a lot of droids in this line. IG-88, General Grievous. I just wish that Hasbro would use a thicker plastic or a less malleable plastic. That being said though, the detail that's there is fantastic, as well as the paint. He basically has dirt weathering all over him as part of the detail. He's got a lot on his chest, a lot on his face, a lot on his arms, a lot on his legs. He also has not what I would consider dry brushing. It's more of just silver splotching. So what paint he does have is good. The weathering's good. I think my biggest problem here is that I've got two of these guys and the paint and weathering is uniform. It's the same on both. And I really wish that Hasbro had just changed some up. I wish they'd release more options, more variances. Kind of like how they did when they originally brought out Battle Droids back in the episode 1 3 3/4 inch line. They had 4 different Battle Droids you could buy. A darker one, a lighter one, a clean one, a dirty one. It would have just been nice if they had done something similar to this to give me a reason to buy more than 2. So while everything's pretty good, I think just the plastic quality brings it down just a little bit for me, so I'm gonna give it a 0.75. So let's talk about want and availability. Did I want this? Yes. He was on pretty much, I know, on my second wish list, probably my first one. It's been so long since I've done those, I honestly don't remember. You can go back and watch them if you want. I mean, we've been drowning in clone troopers and Jedis, and they've had no one to fight. So thankfully, Hasbro finally gave us some battle droids, and they pretty much nailed it. The only real problem here is, like I said before, diversity. I just really wish that we had more. But let's talk about availability. How easy is it to come across these? Well, first of all, they're packaged 2 to a case in basically what is the previous wave now, because the newest wave just came out. But he is number 83 in the regular line. The problem is that people like me and a lot of collectors out there, we need more than one. Just having one battle droid in a collection of bunches of Jedis and bunch of clone troopers, they're all just fighting one battle droid right now, or maybe a battle droid and General Grievous, as long as you only buy one of each. So they really need more options. So it's nice to come to. I bought both that I saw on the shelf personally, but I know there are people out there that have bought every one they've seen. If you're having a hard time finding them in stores, they can be purchased online for the most part. I've seen them on Amazon, Dorkside, Entertainment Earth. There have been people that sold entire cases of them if you want. It's not impossible to find them, but finding them at retail might be the hard part, I guess. But, I mean, Hasbro did what they could. They did pack it 2 to a case, and they did release cases of just battle droids. I just hope that it's not hard to find more in the future, or I hope Hasbro just releases more, because I definitely need more for my collection than just the 2 that I have. I'm not going to let that deter me. I'm going to give it the full point for this, because I definitely wanted it, and it's not entirely impossible to find. I mean, I got 2. So let's take a look at the final score. I'm going to give this a 4.75 out of 5. He's not perfect. Mostly just the plastic quality is what's really bringing me down just a little bit on this otherwise perfect figure. I really do enjoy having these on my shelf. I love posing these guys. For being faceless droids, they just have a lot of personality on them. They lend themselves well to silly poses, which, you know, kind of matches their on-screen personality with their kind of weird, dry, awkward attempts at humor. I just really wish that Hasbro would come out with more. I mean, we need the 9, we need the red security droids, we need a stat version, we need so many more of these to match all the different clone troopers and Jedis that they've released. Hasbro, if you're listening, good job, more. So if you're a lover of the prequels, or if you have a large Jedi and clone trooper collection and no one for them to fight, this is a must-have. I definitely can recommend this. I think this is one of the stronger figures in the line as a whole, and one of the best figures of the year. It's just a lot of fun to play with. And with that, that's my review of the Battle Droid. What did you think? Let me know in the downstairs area below. Do you have one? Did you agree with me? Did you not like it? Do you like it? Did I convince you to get it? I love to read and respond to each of those comments. It really does make my day and gives me something to do during my lunches, since I don't eat during the day. There's also a couple different ways down in the downstairs area you can support my channel if you want to. And please like, share, subscribe. That stuff really does help my channel out if you do it. And that's pretty much it. So thanks so much for getting this far. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.